Hi, here. Hold on. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much.
How are you?
I've had better days, but we're here. We're here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm currently at work, so just bear with me. My apologies.
No, we're happy somebody's helping.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Okay, I'm a little confused. Are we all here just for court, or?
We're here. My daughter has a bond hearing. I just put some information.
Okay, I'm here with the same thing or whatever. So my son, that's okay. I guess it's a group thing. Okay, got it.
I thought you worked for the court system.
No. I think it's a group thing, and everybody who has the same code. What happens is that they let us all in the Zoom at one time, and then they bring everybody into the courtroom, and one by one, we see what's going on. So we just kind of like all participants, if that makes sense.
That's exactly what's going to happen. The judge will most likely ask you guys to turn your cameras off while they're not on your case. And then when it is, you can turn your camera on, you can speak, and we'll make sure you're heard.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I wasn't trying to do your job for you, but they thought I was you.
You had it exactly right, so no worries.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Afternoon, Mr. Dodd.
Hey, Judge, how are you?
I'm doing well. Hope you are as well.
I'm doing just fine.
Good. Glad to hear it. Afternoon, Miss Bridgewater.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hope you are as well.
I
And
am.
Miss Tucker as well.
Afternoon.
Miss Bridgewater, the SAP reset date, please.
It's going to be February the 27th.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Good afternoon, everyone. We'll get started as soon as one of the courtrooms join us. Good afternoon, Miss Grace. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Would you go ahead and mute this Ricky Washington for me, please?
Yes, sir.
I appreciate it. Mr. Washington, if you're unmute, we can hear everything that you do, and I'm happy to have you here this afternoon, but if you'll please mute yourself until we get around to your case for me, please.
Okay, all right.
Okay, thank you. And I'm happy to have everyone that's on the Zoom call for me, but this is a court session. I need for you to conduct yourself as if you were actually in court with me. That means you need to find a quiet place to speak with the court when you need to address me, which means you don't need to be moving
Yeah,
around.
that's just called. They coming.
Thank you. If you are, please go off camera for me. Interpreter Tolles, good afternoon. Are you here for Mr. Garcia Hernandez this afternoon?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Yes, sir, I am.
Anyone else that you know of?
That was the only one.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. We'll get to you as soon as we can. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And Your Honor, I'm the attorney on that case. I have not been able to speak with my client because of the language issue. Would there be an opportunity for me to do that before that matter moves forward?
Yes, it's Mr. Geddes, is that right?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Yes, I will place you into a breakout room with your client at the appropriate time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Who do I have with me in courtroom 2 this afternoon?
All right, we're gonna start with position 12.
Okay, let me just say before we get started, we have a Spanish interpreter on the line. The private attorney is also here for Mr. Garcia Hernandez, who is position number 10 on the calendar. Can we somehow make him available for the attorney to speak with?
The officer is heading to the next courtroom, so once they log in as courtroom 1, we can do a breakout session in their courtroom.
All right, very good. Thank you. I appreciate it. So, Mr. Geddes, we will be with you as soon as we can. Yes, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video this afternoon. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. We are providing you with the assistance of a public defender this afternoon if you do not have a private attorney and wish to utilize their service. Tell me again who we have first.
Position 12.
James, good afternoon. Ms. Gilliard, you have been charged in case 25 CR 0000765Y with theft by taking and criminal trespass. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
24. Got an open battery out of Miami on probation in Fulton. But that by taking out of state court. Shoplifting identity fraud on probation for that as well. It's 14 SC 130710. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Okay. 2024 probation, 2024 FTA, 2024 trespass NOLO, 2015 FTA, and 2010 burglary first offender.
Thank you, Mr. Howard. Ms. Tucker.
Yes, Judge, we'd be asking for a $4,000 good bond on the theft by taking and a $1,000 good bond on the criminal trespass for a total of $5,000 good bond, in addition to no further contact with Zach Baker and to stay away from Georgia Tech. The facts allege this victim left his jacket outside of the classroom at Tech because there was no space left in his cubby. His wallet was taken from his jacket and then used multiple times at a vending machine. It was actually then used later that day, which is how they were able to apprehend this defendant. We did speak with the victim. He stated he doesn't know this defendant. He confirmed the items in the events in the warrant, and he stated he only received back his Buzz card and his Breeze card. He still is missing everything else from his wallet. He said he may be on the Zoom today, but I was unfamiliar with the statute for financial card theft. This morning I had to look into it. I believe this may be an FTC theft felony. So we are going to look into upgrading this as well as the history. You heard two FTAs in 2024 and 2015, and then the history is just loaded with thefts, mostly theft by shoplifting. But there's another financial transaction card fraud in 2020, in 2012, theft of services 2014. So this defendant is just a huge thief. I believe this case should be a felony, and for those reasons, we're asking for that $5,000 total good bond with conditions no further contact and stay away from Georgia Tech. Oh, and this defendant already has a lifetime ban from Georgia Tech from December 2023, so she shouldn't have been there in the first place, but we especially are asking for stay away now.
Thank you. Mr. Barker, I see you on the line. If you wish to address the court, now is your opportunity. You certainly do not have to address the court, but if you wish to, you have to come on camera for me, unmute yourself, and I'll have to swear you in. It doesn't appear that he wishes to address the court. Who's representing Ms. Gilliard this afternoon?
That would be myself, Your Honor.
Oh, yes, Mr. Geddes.
Okay. Yes. Ms. Gilliard has lived in Georgia since 2008. She is unfortunately homeless, Your Honor. She has had numerous issues with housing as well as maintaining long-term stable employment. Obviously, because of those issues, her finances are extremely limited. I understand the state is saying that they may further pursue this case as a felony, but as of right now, these are misdemeanors. We would ask that the court consider giving her the lowest possible bond, just because her financial circumstances would likely prevent her release from anything short of the lowest possible bond.
Okay, for each charge, it'll be $1,000 good bond, makes for a total of a $2,000 good bond. I want her to have a social worker visit to assess for a BHET. No further contact with Mr. Zach Barker. Stay away from the Georgia Tech campus. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Gilliard.
Our position 8, Davis.
Good afternoon, Ms. Davis. You've been charged in case 25 CR 0007568 with theft by taking. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
7 on probation in Clayton County, theft by taking. Got an open obstruction. 2016 criminal damage to property, first offender. That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Tucker.
Yes, Judge, we'd be asking for a $2,000 good bond with condition no further contact with Ebony Mister and to stay away from 701 Celeste Lane in Atlanta. The facts allege that this defendant took the victim's Amazon packages left on her front doorstep. These packages actually are supplies sent to her from her friends and family from a wish list for her upcoming breast cancer surgery. So these are very important packages to her. The victim contacted the defendant's mother because they are neighbors, and the mother confirmed that it was her daughter. When I first read these facts, I thought maybe it was a young defendant. No, this defendant is 34, 33, but lives at home with the mother. The mother confirmed that she had taken the packages. Some of the packages were returned, but they were all opened. And she's not positive that they were all returned because they were from friends and family. So she doesn't know if there were any things that were stolen. We did speak with the victim in this case. She says this is not the first time this has happened. She said she even has called the police before when they stole her recycling bin. So she just wants this to end. She doesn't know why they're doing this. She wants no further contact and wants them to stay away from her residence. And she let us know that she would be on the Zoom today if we could sound for Ebony Mister.
Miss Mister's on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity.
Hi,
Yes, ma'am. If you wish to address me, I'll need for you to raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
that's it.
Okay, you can place your hand down. Thank you, Miss Mister. What would you like to tell the court?
I didn't even know this young lady's name until today, so I don't know why she thought it was okay to just come onto my property. I've been here a little over 4 years in this home since I've bought it. I'm going to be having a second surgery, so I'm in recovery for the first double mastectomy. I have high blood pressure monitor, pulse oximeter hasn't been returned, breast drains, medication, things that this is a serious illness, right? And to just come onto my property in front of my camera with no urgency, no type of care or anything to steal these things. I've had to go next door on several occasions and get my packages from this young lady, and they're open. And I could see if it was an accident, but my name and address are on these packages. I've had my other neighbor even say they had to go over and do the same thing. So I don't understand. And then last night, I get home because I was away in Texas getting a second opinion. So I don't have time to be worried about my things being stolen. I have something even today. Today I was supposed to be sitting with the oncologist. So I don't have time to be worried about my property being trespassed or somebody stealing my things or anything like that. I don't talk to these people. I don't bother them. I don't bother anybody in here. I stay to myself. And I would appreciate if they just stay away from my house, stay away from me, don't say anything to me moving forward.
Thank you for being here this afternoon, Miss Mister. I wish you the best, with your health. Let's see, Mr. Haddad, is this your case?
Judge, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's Mr. Geddes' case, and he texted me that he's in the breakout room with the Spanish interpreter.
Okay. I guess
there's no need, I apologize. There's no need for the alleged victim to remain unless she wants to, Judge. I would just ask once Mr. Geddes gets back, Ms. Tucker just can make her recommendation as far as bond. We don't need to go through the whole thing. The court has already heard it. Then I'll allow him to make the argument. But he's the one that spoke to the
okay, thank you.
judge.
I understand. Thank you, Mr. Haddad. Courtroom 2, given that Mr. Geddes is in a breakout room, we'll have to come back to Ms. Davis. And do we have Mr. Haddad's cases that you can
Yes.
go forward with?
Yes, they have a seat. All right, position 14.
Good afternoon, Mr. Howard. You've been charged in case 25 CR 000758C with 2 counts of simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
7 adult. Got an open case out of Conyers, theft by taking, sale of marijuana, possession of a firearm during a commission, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon or felony first offender. 2013, he was convicted for the sale of marijuana and the possession of a firearm. 2017, given false name conviction. 2018 and 19, probation. That's it.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Allen.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This is an incident from December the 22nd of 2024 at about 4 p.m. Police were called to the area of 232 Forsyth Street Southwest. They met with the victim in this case, Jakima Gilliard, and her first name is spelled Jykeema. She reported that she was in the vehicle with the defendant, who is her boyfriend. They share a child and live together. She was joining him as they delivered DoorDash, and he became angry when he couldn't find the location that he was headed to. She said something to him about his aggressive driving, and that's when he became upset and he punched her in the chest. He then grabbed her by her hair and yanked her hair. She spoke to police on scene, and reported this information. We tried to get in touch with the victim today. We were not successful yet, but we'll continue those efforts. We're asking for a $2,000 surety bond, no contact, stay away from Mrs. Gilliard, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
If Ms. Gilliard's on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity. Doesn't appear so. Mr. Haddad?
Thank you, Judge. Judge, on behalf of Mr. Howard, he's 29 years of age, Judge. The parties do not live together, Judge, so stay away is obviously perfectly fine under the circumstances, especially. There's no need for a one trip with law enforcement since they do not live together. My client does construction work here and there, Judge. He's originally from Covington. He's from the Atlanta area. I would ask the court to consider releasing him through pretrial services, Judge, with all the stay away conditions.
And for each charge, it'll be $1,000 good bond, makes for a total of a $2,000 good bond. No further contact with Ms. Gilliard. Stay away from her residence. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Howard.
All right,
Thank you, Judge.
All right, position 18.
Good afternoon, Mr. 18, yes. John Lakuta. Good afternoon, Mr. Lakuta. You've been charged in case 25 CR 0000761C with criminal trespass and damage to property.
Did you get the add-on? He's on the add-on too.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Howard. And add on 24 CR 0010999C. Criminal trespass and damage to property, obstruction of a law enforcement officer, and stalking as well.
14.
Mr. Howard?
14. He got an open case, state court. It's 24 CR 001-099C. Trespass, damage to property, and obstruction. On probation out of Cherokee County for simple assault as of October 2021 DUI conviction. That's it.
Sally?
Thank you, Your Honor. I want to say first and foremost, we are not asking on the add-on case to change the bond. This defendant has come through first appearance last year with the add-on case, which is 24 CR 001-099C. Subsequent to that, it appears there was an investigation done because the case involves stalking and an intimate partner. A warrant for the stalking as an additional charge to that case was obtained, as well as the criminal trespass warrant for position 18. Position 18 predates the add-on case. So we've got position 18 criminal trespass for going to the location where his ex-girlfriend works and breaking off a piece of her tire that prevents it from getting air put into it, flattening her tire. The 7th of March, which is position 1 on the add-on, the defendant had returned to the location, done the same thing again. He's on surveillance doing this multiple times. And so he'd already been charged with the damage to her property from March the 3rd and willful obstruction. An additional charge for stalking, because this was an ongoing issue, has been added. So again, on the add-on, I'm not asking for a change in the bond. He has a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. He's ordered to stay away from the location. That's 12630 Crabapple Road in Alpharetta. That's where the victim in this case, her name's DM Gwen. So DIEM is the first name, and Gwen is NGUYEN. That's where she works. He's ordered to have no further contact with her. So we would just ask that this count be included in the 24 CR case with no additional requirements on that bond. The new case, which is obviously not a violation of that bond, it happened the month before and is the basis basically for the ongoing stalking. This defendant is on camera at that location, 12630 Crabapple Road, breaking the tire stem that's used to inflate a vehicle's tire, causing that damage. Witnesses were present and saw him. He was seen in his vehicle at the location. He was also on surveillance there. He repeatedly followed and surveilled the victim at that location. So we're asking for a $2,000 SOB through pretrial on the new case, which is just that single count of criminal trespass in position 18. Again, to stay away from that location, no contact with Mrs. Nguyen, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons, Your Honor.
Okay, so he needs a bond, he needs a bond on the stalking.
Well, we would just ask that the bond be the same as the bond in 24 CR.
I have to break it down though,
Okay.
individually. So what does he have right now in the criminal
He's got a
trespass?
$2,000 SOB through pretrial.
Okay, is that broken down?
That's one on each, one on the criminal
Okay.
trespass and one on willful obstruction. So
Okay, so Mr. Dodd, if it's okay with you, I'm going to just add a $2,000 SOB through pretrial at the same level. I take it that that's level 1. And for the criminal trespass, the new one will also be $1,000 SOB through pretrial level 1 with all the same conditions. Is that okay with you, Mr. Dodd?
That's fine, Judge. I just want to put on the record that he's got private counsel on the case that was accused earlier. I tried to reach out to Channing Ruskell. I have not heard back, but for purposes of first appearance, Judge, I've explained to Mr. Lakuta that I believe it's going to be a signature bond to get him out, and you know, his private attorney can deal with whatever needs to be dealt with the solicitor's office combining and all that. But we do not object to the same conditions. These are incidents from last year, and there's not been any issues since then. He's also been through arraignment recently in September on the other case, Judge, or the already accused case.
Okay. Ms. Bridgewater, did you get all that?
I did, but we need to go back over it. On the regular calendar, position 18, which is a criminal trespass and damage to property. I get the conditions, but what is the actual bond amount on position 18?
It'll be $1,000 SOB through pretrial level 1.
Okay. Now going to the add-on, which is has 3 charges. Can you break those amounts down for me?
The criminal trespass is $1,000 SOB through pretrial level 1. The obstruction is $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. The stalking is a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Makes for a total of a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 with the same conditions.
Thank you. I have it.
Very good. Thank you. All right. Good luck to you, Mr. Lakuta.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. We have Mr. Geddes back. Would you like me to do the interpreter case now, courtroom 2?
I don't see courtroom. Okay, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Judge. We can do the interpreter case.
Okay. Madam Interpreter, if you'll raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm that you will translate from Spanish to English or English to Spanish to the best of your ability?
I do, Your Honor.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Garcia Hernandez. You have been charged in case 25 CR 000-721C with 1 misdemeanor offense.
Hola, buenos días, señor García Hernández. Se le ha formulado un solo cargo en número de caso 25 CR 000-721C.
My understanding that this is Mr. Garcia Hernandez's first arrest.
Tengo entendido que este es el primer arresto para el señor García Hernández.
Ms. Tucker?
Yes,
Licenciado Tucker.
Judge. We'd be asking for a $5,000 good bond with conditions no further contact with LaVenta Hall.
Sí, su señoría, estamos pidiendo una fianza de caución de $5,000, una condición de ningún contacto adicional con LaVenta Hall.
And if you're not inclined to give a good bond because of his lack of history, no less than a $5,000 signature bond with conditions, the no further contact, and an SDET.
Y si no le parece la fianza de caución de $5,000, entonces propongo una fianza de no menos de $5,000, pero que sea una fianza bajo palabra, con las condiciones sin ningún contacto, y también, if the interpreter may clarify, the SDET, is that the substance abuse?
No. It's a sexual deviancy evaluation and treatment.
Ok. Y también una condición de someterse a una evaluación para detectar problemas sexuales.
Judge, did the defense attorney just say I can skip all the facts?
Señor juez, el abogado defensor dije que no tengo que exponer los hechos para el acta.
I don't think that he said that, but
Oh.
I'll need to know the facts so
Okay.
that I can make the
Heather, that was
determination.
for the other case with the lady.
Okay,
No
okay.
creo que haya dicho eso, pero yo necesito saber los hechos para poder proceder.
All right.
Era para otra señora.
The victim was getting a ride home with Lyft.
La
As
víctima.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
As she arrived home, she was getting out of the vehicle.
La víctima estaba yendo a su casa, pidió un aventón por Lyft. Llegando a la casa, ella se bajaba del vehículo.
As she was getting out, the driver reached in the back seat, started grabbing her left leg.
Mientras ella se estaba saliendo del vehículo, el conductor alcanzó hasta el asiento de atrás y la estaba agarrando por la pierna izquierda.
She said the male then reached over, started grabbing on both of her legs, attempting to pull her pants down.
Luego dice que el señor la alcanzó agarrando ambas piernas, intentando bajarle el pantalón.
As he was trying to grab her pants, he grabbed her vagina.
Mientras intentaba agarrarle por el pantalón, le agarró la vagina.
She was able to take photos with her cell phone of the male and contacted Lyft, and that's how this defendant was identified.
Ella logró sacar fotos con su celular al señor acusado, luego se comunicó con la compañía Lyft y así fue como identificaron a este señor.
Judge, we've attempted to make contact. We have not been able to contact her.
Su señoría, hemos intentado comunicarnos con ella, pero no hemos logrado tener contacto.
This is a completely random act of violence, completely uncalled for. So for those reasons, we're asking for that $5,000 good bond. If not a good bond, no less than $5,000 surety bond.
Same.
Entonces, su señoría, eso fue un acto aleatorio, sin explicación, no ameritado. Entonces, por eso estamos pidiendo que le imponga una fianza de caución de $5,000 y si no, no menos de una fianza de $5,000.
Ms. Tucker, is Mr. Garcia Hernandez allegedly a Lyft driver?
Licenciado Tucker, supuestamente él efectivamente es un conductor de la compañía Lyft. Sí,
Thank you.
gracias.
If Ms. Hall is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity.
Señora Hall, si está presente, si está conectada y quisiera hablar conmigo, el señor juez, adelante.
Mr. Geddes?
Licenciado,
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. The defendant is 63 years old.
gracias, su señoría. El acusado tiene 63 años de edad.
As you heard from the state, he has no prior criminal history.
Como usted ya escuchó del Estado, no tiene antecedentes penales.
He resides with his daughter and son-in-law and with their 2 grandchildren.
Él vive con su hija y su yerno y sus 2 hijos.
As you heard, he's previously employed with Lyft and he has finished high school.
Y como usted escuchó, anteriormente era empleado de Lyft y ya consiguió su bachillerato.
Your Honor, I think taking into account the defendant's age as well as his lack of prior criminal history, I think a signature bond would be appropriate in this case.
Su señoría, tomando en consideración su edad y la falta de antecedentes penales que tiene, yo creo que una fianza bajo palabra sería apropiado.
He does not know Ms. Hall, and I believe there's no risk of any further contact while this case is pending.
Él no conoce a la señora Hall, y no creo que haya riesgo de contacto adicional mientras el caso siga pendiente.
Okay. It will be a $10,000 signature bond through pretrial level 3.
Muy bien, entonces será una fianza bajo palabra de $10,000 a través de los servicios previos al juicio nivel 3.
No contact with Ms. Hall and stay away from her residential address.
Ningún contacto con la señora Hall y que se mantenga alejado de su domicilio.
No driving for Lyft or any other driving services.
Que no maneje más para la compañía Lyft ni ningún otro servicio de taxi.
No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Nada de consumo de drogas, ni alcohol, ni tenencia de armas mientras está en libertad bajo fianza.
Good luck to you, sir.
Buena suerte, señor.
Let's see, do we need Madam Interpreter for any other cases this afternoon?
Judge, we don't.
Okay, thank you. Toles, thank you so much for your help this afternoon. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Have a great day, everyone.
All right, Joe, we're going back to position 8.
And Mr. Geddes, while you were away, unfortunately, we got all the way through position number 8, who I believe is your client, Ms. Davis. Ms. Tucker, would you go back through the basics for me?
Yes, Judge, we're asking for a $2,000 good bond with conditions no further contact and to stay away. That's no further contact with Ebony Mister and stay away from 701 Celeste Lane, Atlanta. You heard from this victim, who let us know that these packages were very important to her and there's absolutely no reason that they should have been taken. She's lived there consistently. She doesn't have a relationship with this neighbor. She should not have gone and gotten these packages, as well as the history. You heard there's a 2022 theft by taking conviction out of Clayton, a 2020 theft by taking case that arrest that was null prost, and a 2001 theft by shoplifting, arrest, no disposition.
Thank
So
you.
based on the history and the facts, we're asking for that $2,000 good bond.
Yes, Mr. Geddes?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. This defendant is 36 years old. She has been a resident of Georgia for her entire life. She has 3 children, one of whom has a child of their own. My understanding is that the 2 younger children still reside with her. She is employed with a security company, Global Security. My understanding is she has been employed with them for a year and some change. She is the sole breadwinner for her household, Your Honor. I think a UJR would be appropriate to make sure that she can get out, get back to work, make sure that the members of her household are continued to be clothed and fed, etc.
Okay, it'll be $1,000 good bond, no further contact with Ebony Mister, stay away from her residential address, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Davis.
All right, we're going to position 4, the conflict attorney case.
Okay.
But come on.
Good afternoon, Mr. Butts. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000752F with criminal trespass and damage to property and simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
20 plus. I saw a 2015 ag assault DV conviction. And it looked like a '07 ag assault conviction. It's out of state. That's all.
Tucker?
Yes, Judge, we'd be asking for $1,000 good bond on the criminal trespass and $2,000 good bond on the simple battery family violence for a total of $3,000 good, with conditions no further contact with Shabazz Morgan and to stay away from 2609 DeLau Drive in East Point. This is a dual arrest case, Judge, so you may remember Mr. Morgan was on the calendar yesterday. But briefly, the facts allege that this victim, Mr. Morgan, told the landlord that this defendant was smoking crack in his room, which led to an argument. This defendant kicked in the victim's door, leaving a huge hole in the door, and punched him in the face. The basis for asking for a good bond, even though this is a dual arrest, is this history. He's got aggravated assaults out of Texas, aggravated assaults out of Alabama, and no real ties to Georgia. So the risk of reoffense is very high, as well as the risk of flight. So we'd be asking for that total $3,000 good bond with conditions no further contact and to stay away.
Good afternoon, Ms. McLeod.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. We would be asking for a signature bond for Mr. Butts. He is 61 years old, Your Honor. As the state has said, this is a dual arrest. My client denies the allegations of the warrant as stated by the state. In fact, he tells me that what happened was that the alleged victim had been harassing him, asking him to give him alcohol. And when he told him that he had no more alcohol to give to the alleged victim, that was when he was attacked. He actually lives in that facility, Your Honor. So if the court enters an order saying that he can't go back there, he would at least need a one-time police escort to get his belongings. But based on the fact that I believe I heard the state say that all his convictions were certainly more than 10 years old, we would be seeking a signature bond, Your Honor.
Okay, so I wasn't here yesterday, so didn't hear Mr. Morgan's case. Is this, what type of facility is the
It's like a rooming house, Your Honor. It's a rooming house.
Okay, and Ms. Tucker, was Mr. Morgan limited from that rooming house yesterday?
I'm not sure. Let me check, but I would request that this defendant stay away, considering he punched a hole in the door, so he damaged the property there. Let me check to be sure.
Your Honor, the bond yesterday required Mr. Shabazz Morgan to stay away, but also says he can return if he goes with law enforcement and verifies that the victim, Mr. Butts, defendant today, is no longer there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's a rooming house?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. For the criminal trespass, it'll be $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. For the battery, a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. Makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. No further contact with Mr. Morgan. Stay away from the DeLau Drive address. You can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your
Good luck
Honor.
to you. You're welcome, Ms. McLeod. Good luck to you, Mr. Butts.
All right, Judge, we want a position 1.
Okay. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mr. Arnold. You were charged in case 25 CR 0000749J with simple battery. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
8/20/22 obstruction trespass. That's open. 2013 trespass conviction. Bench warrant out of Judge Bessie. That's it.
Tucker?
Yes, Judge, we'd be asking for a $2,000 signature bond with condition no further contact and to stay away from 88 Howard Street in Atlanta. These victims, the facts allege that this victim was taking care of the defendant's 101-year-old grandmother. But on this day, the defendant was there, so he asked her to leave. The victim is Latoya Moore. She's a neighbor of the grandmother. So there was an exchange of words, and the victim started moving his items from the kitchen. He moved them back and punched her in the face, knocked her to the floor, held her down for 5 minutes, and her husband, who she had called when the defendant started getting aggressive, had to come in and protect her. We did speak with this victim. She let us know she's the neighbor and, caretaker of this old elderly woman. She's been taking care of her for over a year and has never seen the defendant prior to this incident. And she was told by the defendant's daughter to call the police if he ever showed, because he's not supposed to be there. We also spoke with that daughter, Miss Bessie Arnold. She has the power of attorney over her mother, and she stated that the defendant has undiagnosed MH issues, and this has been an ongoing issue, and he's not allowed to be at that residence. So all parties want him to stay away from the residence, and have no further contact with Latoya Moore. She did let us know she would try to be on the Zoom, so if we could sound for not only Miss Moore, but Bessie Arnold.
Okay, before I do that, Ms. Tucker, do you have given he has an open case in Fulton County, do you have that bond order? Or can you get that bond order to let me know that?
Yes.
Okay, so while you do that, Miss Latoya Moore or Miss Arnold, if either of you are on the line, I wish to address the court. Now is your opportunity.
So Bess Arnold, I am on the line.
Yes, Miss Arnold, if you would like to address the court, I'll need for you to activate your camera.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
Just would like for it, whenever he is released, that there's a police escort to the house so that he can get his belongings. I don't want to throw them out, but I do want to have an escort so that there's no potential violence.
Okay. Who lives at the Howard Street address, Miss Arnold?
My mom lives there.
And what's your mother's name?
Her name is Ann Arnold.
And James Arnold, who is he to you?
That's my nephew, and it's my mom's grandson.
And does Mr. James live, does he live at the Howard Street address?
No, he doesn't. He's been homeless for a while, but I've not been in touch with him. And I haven't heard from him, as the DA said, in almost 2 years.
Okay. So, does he have any, does he have any belongings at the Howard Street address that you know
He
of?
does. He has
Okay.
his cell phone, he has clothes, he has shoes, and that's why I said we want
Okay.
an escort when he is released so that there's no potential for harm.
I understand. Thank you, Miss Arnold. I appreciate you being here this afternoon.
Thank you.
Ms. Tucker, were you able to get that information?
Yes, he was released on a $3,000 signature bond. And it was a different stay away address.
Was it through pretrial?
Yes. No, it was through the jail.
Who signed that?
You did.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Ms. McLeod.
We have no objection to signature bond for Mr. Arnold, Your Honor. He is residentially challenged, he tells me. So he was unable to provide me with an address. He was only able to provide me with a phone number to contact him. He obviously is not in a position to pay for bond, Your Honor, because he does not work. So a signature bond would be good for him.
Okay, well, if I don't have an address for him, apparently he has a bench warrant out of Judge Besson, and that's probably because he doesn't have a place to receive his mail.
Yes, Your Honor, and he was unable to
So,
give me an address, unfortunately. I think a social worker visit may be helpful for him, Your Honor.
well, he's not getting out until they address that bench warrant. It's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Hopefully they'll address both these cases when he goes to the SAP calendar. I'll have a social worker visits to assist him with housing. Stay away from the Howard Street address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. No further contact with Ms. Moore or Ms. Arnold, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Good luck to you, both Arnolds.
All right, position 2.
Good afternoon, Mr. Brockett. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000750A with simple battery family violence. Your history, Mr. Howard?
6 total. 2005 obstruction dismissed. That's it.
Tucker?
Yes, Judge, we'd be asking for a $2,000 signature bond with conditions no further contact with Chantel Clark. This was a dual arrest. The facts allege that an argument over leaving for work that morning led to the victim stealing this defendant's car keys, moving his cars, and throwing the keys into a bush. However, in retaliation, this defendant twisted her wrist to get her keys from her hand. There were no visible marks or bruises, so it's only charged as a simple battery. And with the lack of history, we are asking for that $2,000 signature bond with conditions no further contact with Miss Chantel Clark.
Mr. Gaze?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. I don't think we have any issue with the $2,000 signature bond, so I'll just briefly go over details. This defendant has lived in Georgia for more than 30 years at this point. He's 47 years old. My understanding is that he has been employed with the airport as a ramp supervisor for the better part of 20 years at this point. He has 2 children as well as grandchildren. My understanding is that he has no relationship outside of work with the alleged victim in this case. So again, I don't think we have any issues with the UJR nor the stay away.
Okay. There wasn't a stay away asked for.
The no further contact, I apologize.
Okay. It'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, no further contact with Ms. Clark, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Brockett.
Position 19. Come on.
Good afternoon, Mr. McWhorter. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000763D with a window tint violation, a seatbelt violation, fleeing or attempting to elude a police officer, failure to stop at a stop sign, 2 counts, reckless driving, and 2 counts of willful obstruction of law enforcement officers. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
12. His history is mostly drugs.
Okay.
That's it.
Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an incident from the 12th of February at about 6:30 in the evening, specifically at Maury Avenue and Thurkield Avenue. The defendant was seen driving a white Genesis vehicle that obviously had window tint that was a violation of the local ordinance on the windshield. A traffic stop was initiated. When officers approached the defendant, it was clear he wasn't wearing a seatbelt. There was a strong odor of marijuana. He told officers, "You don't smell anything." When officers asked if he would provide his ID, he started acting in a furtive manner. Officers detained him, or at least tried to. They got a handcuff on his left arm, at which point he started to put his car in drive. He fled the scene at a high rate of speed, failed to stop at multiple stop signs, specifically Thurkield Avenue and Shaw Street. Officers followed him but lost sight of him. He was driving recklessly. Blue lights were activated. He ignored officers' commands to stop, continued on a high rate of speed, and eventually was blocked by assisting units at Pryor and Bowen Circle. The officers involved were Officer Ballard and Kay Gross. We're asking for an $8,000 surety, Your Honor, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. I believe this gentleman is a multi-convicted felon, although it's not cases of this kind of variety. Thank you.
So Dodd?
Thank you, Judge. Judge, my client is 36 years of age. He has a 12-year-old, and him and the mom and the 12-year-old all live together, Judge. He reports to me that he does work for DOT, not exactly sure in what capacity. Somewhat limited income, Judge. He, of course, qualifies for our service public defender's office. I'm requesting the court, if not eligible for pretrial, a significantly much lower bond, Judge, in the amount of $2,000 total, Judge.
Okay. For the fleeing or attempting to elude, a $500 good bond. For the reckless driving, a $500 good bond. For the 2 obstructions, $500 good bond each. So that's going to make for a total of a $2,000 good bond on those charges. For the window tint, $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Seatbelt violation, $1,000 signature bond through the jail. For the 2 stop sign violations, $1,000 signature bond through the jail each. That's going to make for a total of a $4,000 signature bond through the jail on those charges. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Did I get all those, Ms. Bridgewater?
You did.
Okay, thank you. Good luck to you, Mr. McWhorter.
All right, we're going to position 5.
Good afternoon, Mr. Clark. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000753E with 2 counts of simple battery. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Second, 2012, suspended license, NOD, resident of Ohio.
Tucker?
Yes, Judge, we'd be asking for $1,000 signature bond on each charge for a total of $2,000 with conditions no further contact with, with Natasha Jackson and to stay away from 3400 Norman Berry Road in East Point. The facts allege that this defendant resigned from working there and walked into this victim's office calling her a bitch. He grabbed her by the shirt, and the tussle ended up with her on the ground, him putting his knee on her chest while banging her head against the window seat. We did speak with this victim. She said they were co-workers. She confirmed the events in the warrant, said they've had verbal arguments in the past, but it has never gone this far. She sustained a swollen wrist, swollen knee, does not want any contact with this defendant, and wants him to stay away from this location because she still works there. She did let us know she'd be on the Zoom if we could sound for Natasha Jackson.
Ms. Jackson, I see you there. If you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity. I'll need for you to unmute yourself, activate your camera, and I'll have to swear you in.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Yes.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court, ma'am?
The only concerns that I actually have is that he was a general manager here that relocated, so he actually stays on property. So he still have his vehicle on property and a lot of his personal belongings, which are in the room. So I just ask that at any time that he's coming to the property for me to be advised, and either I not be here or to ensure that he's escorted to the property or have his family, because I understand that he do have family in the area that can come versus him coming to the property.
Okay, if he does come back to the property, he'll have to come with a police escort, okay? Ms.
Okay.
Jackson? All right, anything further, ma'am?
No, that's it.
All right, I appreciate you being here this afternoon.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Geddes.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. This defendant is 40 years old. My understanding is that he did relocate to Georgia as part of his taking up this position. I have already discussed with him the possibility of a stay away and no further contact with the alleged victim in this case. My understanding is that he does have family in a separate location that he would be able to stay with. So if the stay away is necessary, there are already things in place that we understand the state's position on that. My understanding is that he does have a bachelor's degree in hospitality management. We do think the UJR would be appropriate, Your Honor.
Okay, for each charge, it'll be $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, makes for a total of a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further contact with Ms. Jackson. Stay away from the Norman Berry Road address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
All right, position 20.
Good afternoon, Mr. Moss. You have been charged in case 25 CR 000766E with fleeing or attempting to elude a police officer, light violation, possession of an open alcohol container, driving where your license was suspended or revoked, and failure to have your license on your person. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
2013 shoplifting conviction, 2010 obstruction.
Mr. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. This is a incident out of East Point at about 3:30 in the morning on the 12th of February. Officers on patrol saw the defendant at an intersection, Main Street in Willingham. He had his brights on and had not dimmed them, even though oncoming traffic was facing him and the lights were shining into their cars. Officers pulled behind the vehicle and ran the plates. They activated blue lights. The defendant did not stop his vehicle. He drove for a nice period of time and ended up at a location where eventually he exited his vehicle. When officers asked for his ID, he said he didn't have one. Officers asked why he failed to stop when they activated their blue lights, and he said he was trying to get to his employer's house because he knew his car was going to be impounded. His license is suspended. He provided his information verified. He has a suspended license. When officers asked him about why they smelled alcohol, and saw an open container of Miller High Life, I believe, in the vehicle that was still cold to the touch. The defendant said he'd only had that one drink. We're asking for a $5,000 surety. That's $1,000 on each count. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and no driving without a valid license, Your Honor.
Don?
Judge, on behalf of my client, Mr. Moss is 58 years of age, Judge. He does roofing work. He's married, although his wife has limited incoming income. She apparently had a stroke, suffered a stroke a year or so ago. Judge, I mean, obviously he's not supposed to, he can't drive, and that's a reasonable bond condition. Due to the limited income and resources, Judge, I would ask the court consider a signature bond through the jail if he's eligible. It sounded like his last conviction was, some date to it, 2013, if I understood pretrial correctly, Judge. So that would be a request of the defense.
For the plan or attempting to elude, a $500 signature bond through pretrial level 3. For the light violation, $100 signature bond through pretrial level 3. For the possession of an open alcohol container, a $250 signature bond through pretrial level 3. Suspended license, a $250 signature bond through pretrial level 3. Failure to have license on person, $100 signature bond through pretrial level 3. Makes for a total of a $1,200 signature bond through pretrial level 3. No driving without a valid license. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Moss.
All right, position 9.
Good afternoon, Mr. Freeman. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000759D with stalking, family violence, violating of family violence protective order, and criminal trespass. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
7 total. On probation, 2 counts of cruelty to children, 2nd degree. 2 counts of cruelty to children, 1st degree. 2019 parole violation. That's it. And that probation come out of Clayton County.
Doctor?
Yes, Judge, we're asking for 2,500 good bond on the stalking, 2,500 good bond on the violation of a TPO, and $1,000 good bond on the criminal trespass for a total of 6,000. With conditions no further contact with Raina Relaford, and to stay away from 1131 Garibaldi Street in Atlanta. The facts allege that this defendant was on the victim's property and had been constantly texting her and calling her because she gave away a car that was broken down in her yard that she had let him drive over a year ago, but he hadn't driven it for over a year, and he would have no way of knowing that that car was still there unless he had come to the property. So he actually called the police to report this car stolen. But once the police arrived, they realized he has TPO, or she has TPOs against him. Her daughter has TPOs against him because he's been coming to her daughter's place of work, harassing her daughter. I believe he has an assault case against her. So he was not supposed to be there in the first place. He's not supposed to be contacting her. And exactly. We did speak with this victim. She said they're no longer in a relationship. They do not live together. They do share one child. She confirmed all the things in the warrant and pretty much explained to us what I've just explained to you, that this car was not Working, and she owned it. It was not his car. He had no claim to this car. She does not wish to have any contact. She does not want him to come to her residence. So we were asking for a stay away and then no further contact. She didn't even wish to attend the Zoom. She let us know this. She really just does not want to see this man. You did hear that violent history. He's on probation for cruelty to children in the first. I also have a 2017 arrest for battery family violence that wasn't all pros, and a 2009 aggravated battery and cruelty in the first. That was First Offender Act. So those are not convictions, but between the convictions and those arrests and the facts of this case, I believe there is a high likelihood for intimidation of this victim while out on bond, as well as possibly hurting her while out on bond. So we're asking for that $6,000 good bond with conditions no further contact and to stay away.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Geddes.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. This defendant is 40 years old. My understanding is that he is a lifelong resident of Georgia. He has numerous family members who live throughout the state. He's expressed to me that he has worked as a machine operator for the better part of 15 years at a location in Georgia. He does have his GED. My understanding is that he lives in Covington. I think he'd be able to stay in Covington, and we've already discussed the likelihood of a stay away and no further contact. He's assured me that he can abide by those conditions. I believe with those conditions in place, a UJR would be appropriate in this matter.
Okay, for the stalking, it'll be a $500 good bond. For the violating the family violence protective order, a $1,500 good bond. For the criminal trespass, a $500 good bond makes for a total of a $2,500 good bond. No further contact with Miss Relaford. Stay away from the Garibaldi Street address. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Okay, good luck to you, sir.
All right, position 21.
Good afternoon, Mr. Nixon. You have been charged in case 25 CR 000768J with battery and simple battery. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
14, 2019, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, possession of marijuana conviction, 2019 probation, 2017 possession of cocaine, possession by a convicted felon conviction. That's it.
Sally?
Thank you, Your Honor. This is actually an incident from 2003, so warrants have been active since about November when this happened. This is November 28, 2023 at about 2 in the morning. Police were called to 2115 Piedmont Road Northeast, where they spoke to the victim, Taya Gatewood, Tyah is how you spell the first name. We tried to make contact with her this morning, but were unsuccessful. It's reported that the defendant struck her in the head multiple times with his hands, grabbed her. The warrant literally states grabbed her and applied pressure, and she was unable to breathe, although the officer took a warrant out for a simple battery or battery. He threw an object at her, which caused a bruise on her left leg. And she identified him along with her family because they've known him for about 12 years. He's not a stranger to police. So this warrant's been active for a period of time. We're asking for a $4,000 surety. That's $2,000 on each count. No contact with Mrs. Gatewood or anyone else where she lives or works, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
Judge, on behalf of my client, he's 42 years of age. He reports that he actually is employed as a field service engineer and has been doing this for quite some time. At one point, he actually owned his own business. He does have custody of a 9-year-old that lives with him, currently being taken care of by a friend of his. In light of that this is from November of 2023. First of all, the stay away is not an issue. The parties don't live together or anything like that. Not had any contact with the alleged victim for quite some time. I would just ask the court to consider a release through pretrial services with the stay away conditions, Judge.
$2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2 with a simple battery, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2 makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. No further contact with Ms. Gatewood. Stay away from her residential address. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Nixon.
Position 11.
Good afternoon, Mr. Garrett. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000764A with battery. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
8. History out of California. I saw a cycle for 2/10/2025 child abuse. I'm not sure what's going on with that. 2018 possession of marijuana. 2013 cruelty to elder or dependent adult. 2011 it says harm or death on elder or dependent child conviction. That's it.
Tucker?
Yes, Judge, we'd be asking for a $2,000 signature bond with conditions no further violent contact with Jesse Brownhill. The defendant and the victim were doing some work for the property owner at this incident location. The defendant became intoxicated, began to act violently, kicking and punching the victim several times, causing a laceration above his eye and bruising on his leg. We did speak with the victim. He stated he's known the defendant for 7 to 8 years. He confirmed the events in the police report, but stated he's not in fear of him and wants no violent contact. He did let us know he'd be on the Zoom if we could sound for Jesse Brownhill.
Mr. Brownhill is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Doesn't appear so. Mr. Geddes, any objection to any of the state's requests?
No, Your Honor. All of those conditions are fine with us.
Okay, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further violent contact with Mr. Brownhill. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Garrett. You're welcome.
Position 22.
Hey, that last one was perjured.
Mr. Porter, good afternoon. You've been charged in case 25 CR 0000767E with 2 counts of battery family violence. It's my understanding that this is Mr. Porter's first arrest. Miss Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an incident from yesterday, February the 12th. Police were called to the location 1064 Herndon Street Northwest at about 7:50 p.m. There they spoke to the victim, Ricky Washington. The defendant lives at the location with Mr. Washington. Mr. Washington dates the defendant's mom or was. The victim, Mr. Washington, had bloody scratches on his neck. It reported that he'd been punched multiple times in the face and head. He had swelling on his head and the back of his neck. We spoke to Mr. Washington today. He reported that the defendant's mother came into his room and they were arguing. The young man in front of you followed and assaulted the victim. He's filed for an eviction at the location and he's requesting no contact. So we asked for a $4,000 SOB through pretrial. Stay away from 1064 Herndon Street Northwest. No contact with Mr. Washington and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And if you could, Mr. Washington, thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Washington, if you would like to address the court, I need for you to raise your right hand for me, please, sir. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
Okay, you can place your hand down. Thank you, sir. What would you like to tell the court?
I just want Mr. Porter just to stay away from my house. I want him to stay away.
Okay. And does he live there at the present time?
Yes,
Okay, and I take it that he has belongings there that he'll need to retrieve.
yes,
Okay. Thank you for being here this afternoon, Mr. Washington.
thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Dodd?
Your Honor, no objection to the recommendation. I would ask one time assist with law enforcement. It is my understanding that the mom is actually moving out and my client is going to be living with her. So I think they're, one of them is moving out voluntarily. The other one, of course, is in front of you, Judge.
Thank you. As such, for each charge, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, makes for a total of a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further contact with Ricky Washington. Stay away from the Herndon Street address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Porter. You as well, Mr. Washington.
Thank you.
All right, position 13.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hammond. You've been charged in case 25 CR 0007578 with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Second, 08 obstruction, giving false name, entering auto, first offender.
Mr. Allen?
Your Honor, this is an incident from February the 12th at the Texaco gas station, 2716 MLK Junior Drive. At about 11 p.m., police were called there by the owner, Mr. Shafi, S-H-A-F-I, reporting that the defendant, who'd been previously criminally trespassed, was present at the location and refusing to leave after being asked multiple times. Officers confirmed that he'd been criminally trespassed on November the 19th of 2024, made contact with the defendant and took him into custody. We're asking for $1,000 surety to stay away from that location, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and we'd ask for a social worker visit, Your Honor.
Mr. Geddes?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. This defendant is 33 years old. My understanding is that he lives with his mother at an address in Atlanta. He unfortunately is not currently working. He has had some difficulty maintaining a long-term position. Your Honor, if he's eligible, we would just ask, considering his financial status, that he be given a UJR, but if he's not eligible, just the lowest possible bond.
So he's not residentially challenged, Mr. Geddes? He has a place to stay?
He did express to me that he's currently living with his grandmother, Your Honor.
Okay. As such, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the Texaco on MLK Junior Drive. No further contact with Mr. Shafi. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Mr. Hammond, I'm going to let you out, but you can't go back to that Texaco. If they do and you get rearrested, I'm not going to give you a signature bond next time, okay? So stay away from that Texaco. All right. Good luck to you, sir.
Position 23.
Good afternoon, Mr. Todd. You've been charged in case 25 CR 0000769C with willful obstruction of law enforcement officers. Is there a history?
Yeah, 28, got an open shoplifting in state court. Got another open shoplifting in state court. See, you got open fleeing an officer. Failure to obey stop sign or control device, reckless driving. I'm sorry, yeah, reckless driving within Agora. What else we got? Seatbelt violation, obstruction, pedestrian in the roadway. That's a felony case. On probation for robbery out of Superior Court. 2024 FTA. 2020 battery conviction. 2020 battery cruelty, trespass damage conviction. 2015 ag assault 2 counts, cruelty to children conviction, and a 2010 burglary conviction.
Fallon?
Your Honor, this is a single count of obstruction. The defendant on January the 15th, 2025, was at the RN Frickett Elementary School at 3936 Rux Road. He was there in the office while officers on scene were trying to investigate a disruption. He refused to follow verbal commands, walked away from officers, and was generally rude and disrespectful, but also obstructive to their work. You just heard he's got multiple open cases. We'd ask that there be a bond order for $2,000, a surety bond, that he be ordered to absolutely stay away from the elementary school there at 3936 Rux Road. That's RUX. That's RN Frickett Elementary, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. Thank you.
Do you have his other bond orders there, Miss Allen? That
I
the ones
can-
that are open?
I can pull them up. You
Okay.
want to give me a minute?
Okay, thank you. I'll go on to Mr. Dodd while you see if you can get that for me. Thank you. Mr. Dodd?
Thank you, Judge. Judge, I spoke to Mr. Todd about this case. Him and Miss Thomas have 8 kids together, and she actually works at the school. And he normally would drop off the kids, but we discussed the possibility that the court may impose a stay away from the school, and that's fine. I think that the mom will be taking the kids there. I'm not going to really address the facts of the case. I think there's some issues there, but nonetheless, I know that the court is often restricted with someone's prior record. I would just ask the court to consider, in light of the fact that it's an obstruction charge, to impose, if not a signature bond through the jail, then a $500 bond. Judge, he's I mean, his job is he takes care of the kids, so he does not have any income himself. Judge, hold on, Mr. Todd.
Your Honor, the 24 PI case that this defendant has, the bond from that case is from September of 2024. That's a felony fleeing case. It's a $12,000 bond that's split. He's also pretrial level 3 for a portion of it.
Thank you, Miss Allen.
Of course. And then the misdemeanor cases, theft by shoplifting from February of 2024, and another shoplifting from February of 2024. He's got $1,000 good bond on the one, 24 CR 000-879C. Stay away from the Family Dollar at 3721 Campbellton Road. And
Do you know if I gave him that bond, Miss Allen?
that is Judge Williams. And I don't know that I see a separate bond order for this other case, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. As such, it'll be a $500 good bond. Stay away from RN Frickett on Rux Road. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Todd.
All right, Judge, you can do all the defendants at ACDC, then you can come back to courtroom too.
Okay. Who do we have at ACDC?
Good afternoon, Judge Morrow. Hope you're doing well. This is going to be position number 5, Ms. Armani Cunningham.
Yeah, I am, Francois. I hope you are as well.
Thank you.
And let me just address both of the ladies there. Good afternoon. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. We're providing you with the assistance of a public defender this afternoon if you choose to utilize their service. Ms. Cunningham, you have been charged in case 25 CR 000754G with battery family violence. It's my understanding that this is Ms. Cunningham's first arrest. Ms. Tucker?
Yes, Judge, this is a dual arrest. also position 7. But in Miss Armani's case, we're asking for a $2,000 signature bond with conditions no further contact with Jacqueline Cunningham and to stay away from the 7350 Campbellton Road, apartment 303 in South Fulton. The facts allege that the daughter, which is Miss Armani Cunningham, and the mother is going to be Miss Jacqueline Cunningham. The daughter was filming the mother with her phone for whatever reason without her permission. So the mother tried to take the phone from her and a tussle arose. It led to visible marks and bruises on both parties. The sister did witness kind of, but didn't see who struck first. So no one was able to tell the officer exactly what happened. Therefore, this was a dual arrest. Considering that she has no history, we're only asking for that $2,000 signature bond with condition no further contact and to stay away.
Ms. McCown?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 21 years old. She tells me that she would prefer no further violent contact with her mom, Your Honor. She believes that her mom is the primary aggressor, but she says it's still her mom, and she's gotten over the difference that they had, and she'd prefer no violent contact. They do not live together. My client has a separate address. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Haddad or Mr. Gettings, who's gonna represent Jacqueline Cunningham?
Miss Jacqueline is my client, Your Honor.
Okay, does she have a request of the court regarding contact?
My understanding was that she had already discussed with the child's father her staying at the father's residence. I didn't speak to her directly as to whether or not she preferred no violent versus no further contact.
Okay. It will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. At this point in time, I guess no further contact with Miss Jacqueline Cunningham. Stay away from her residential address. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Miss Armani.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Position 6, Ms. Cunningham.
Okay, and good afternoon to you, Miss Jacqueline Cunningham. You have been charged in case 25 CR 000755C with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
11, 2019 FTA, 2016 battery cruelty to children conviction, 2014 probation, 07 simple battery conviction. I got some violent convictions from the 90s, and that's it.
Miss Tucker?
Yes, Judge, the facts are the same, but the history is not. So in this case, we're asking for a $2,000 good bond with condition no further contact. If you are thinking of giving her a signature bond because the daughter got a signature bond, then I would ask for a higher signature bond, $4,000. But the initial ask is $2,000 good bond based on this history.
Yes, Mr. Gettings.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. My client is 47 years old. She has lived in Georgia since the 80s. She has 2 children that live with her at her residence that are not Miss Armani. My understanding is that she has worked as a mail sorter with UPS for the better part of 20 years at this point. She does have some college education. She is the primary breadwinner for her household, so she expressed to me concern about getting out, making sure she can still take care of the minor children that reside with her. As I mentioned a moment ago, she expressed to me that she has already had conversations with Miss Armani's father about Armani staying with the father as opposed to her going forward. So I would just ask that she be given a signature bond at this point. I understand the state's position considering the history, but from what I heard, it sounded like the majority of that was fairly old.
All right. It will be a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. No further contact at this time with Armani Cunningham. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, ma'am. Miss McLeod, with Miss Armani, is she gonna need a one-time escort to get any belongings from Miss Jacqueline's address?
Her father gonna come and get her belongings on Saturday.
Oh, okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Position number 24, Ms. Earl.
Yes, good afternoon, Ms. Earl. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0007770F with battery, family violence, and criminal trespass interference with possessions. My understanding that this is Ms. Earl's first arrest.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Ms. Allen.
This is an incident from the 12th of February, so yesterday. Police were called to 2788 DeForest Ferry Road Northwest at about 1 in the morning. There they met with the victim, Michael Meyer, Meyer. He had a visible deep scrape to his right arm, as well as scratches on the underside of his arm. He reported that there was an argument when the defendant demanded his cell phone. They live together, they're in a relationship. During this incident, there was not only a demand by the defendant to get the cell phone, but a struggle over the cell phone with him. That's when he was injured by her. He reports that this is the only time they've ever had an incident, and that he's not in fear. He'd like to continue contact. Your Honor, we're asking for a $2,000 SOB, no violent contact. We'd ask for a day of anger management and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I believe Mr. Meyer is here on the Zoom if you'll call for him.
Mr. Meyer, if you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. If you choose to, I'll need for you to unmute yourself, activate your camera, and I'll have to swear you in. It appears that he doesn't want to address the court. Mr. Haddad? There he goes. Hold on.
Sorry.
Yes, Mr. Meyer, if you'll raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court?
I just know that Gina is not a violent person, and that was, like I said, the only time this ever happened. She's a sweet person, probably the sweetest person that I know of, but yep, I just wanted to point that out there.
Okay, you're not afraid of her?
I'm not, no.
And this has not happened before?
It hasn't. She's good with kids. She's given me. She'll never happen, but that's it.
All right, thank you for being here this afternoon.
Thank you.
Mr. Haddad?
Your Honor, this is just first appearance. There's a lot to talk about the facts, but in light of the state's recommendation, no objection to signature bond. I do believe her parents are online as well in support. Whether I had initially discussed whether I stay away, whether she chooses to return or not, that would be up to her. She can move in with her parents, and I'll leave that decision up to her, Judge. But other than that, we're in agreement as far as a release through signature bond, Judge.
Okay, for the battery, it will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. For the criminal trespass, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. 1 day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Mr. Meyer, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Good luck to you, Ms. Earl.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, is that all at ACDC?
Yes, we're completed. Thank you.
All right, we'll see you next time. Thank you.
All right, have a good one.
Position 3.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bullard. You've been charged in case 25 CR 0000751E with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
36. Got an open trespass out of city municipal court. 2024 FTA, 2021 FTA, 2016 disorderly conduct conviction. 2014 and 13 FTA.
Tucker?
Yes, Judge, we're asking for a $2,000 good bond in this case with a stay away from the West Inman lot at 626 DeKalb Avenue. The facts allege that he entered this lot after being criminal trespassed on January 27th of this year. So he knew he wasn't supposed to be there. But his history is what's so concerning. You didn't hear about all the arrests for criminal trespass. He's got an arrest of criminal trespass 2024, arrest from 23, arrest from 23, arrest from 22, and I only went back that far because I know you don't like to hear about super old stuff. But 36 total, all these arrests for criminal trespass. He knew he wasn't supposed to be there. I think the risk of reoffense while out on bond is very high. As a matter of fact, you heard his most recent arrest was December of last year, criminal trespass. So he was out on bond and here he is still trespassing. So I don't believe a signature bond is appropriate. We're asking for that $2,000 good bond with the condition to stay away from this location.
Thank you. Mr. Geddes?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. The defendant in this matter is 38 years old. He's a lifelong resident of Georgia. My understanding is that his parents, his aunt, and a number of other family members all reside in Georgia. He has expressed to me that he resides with his aunt. My understanding is that prior to his arrest, he recently acquired a job working with a gas station. I know he's concerned about getting out of custody so that he can get back to work and maintain that position. He is a high school graduate. He does have 2 minor children. Your Honor, I understand the state's position concerning his history, but I would just ask you to consider a UJR.
Is there something that the court can do, Mr. Geddes, to assist your client? There seems that there are an awful lot of criminal trespass allegations. Does he need any assistance from a social worker? Is there a housing issue? Is there a mental health issue? Or anything that you request of the court before he gets to the SAP calendar if he doesn't make bond so that we can move him along?
He has expressed to me that he does not have housing issues, Your Honor. I don't see how a social worker visit would hurt.
It will be $1,000 good bond. Stay away from the west lot on 626 DeKalb Avenue. A social worker visit to assess for BHET. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Bullard.
Sit in this red chair right here. All right, position 15.
Hey, I don't have 15, Judge. I didn't see that on the pull sheet.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Howard. Good afternoon, Mr. Hughes. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0007722Y with criminal trespass. Do you have his history, Miss Allen?
I do, Your Honor. This is a
Okay.
bind over case. So Mr. Hughes already has a $1,000 bond out of Union City. He's got a 2022 criminal trespass conviction, 2023 felony drug arrest, shoplifting, multiple convictions, and a 2016 battery family violence conviction. On February the 6th, 2025, police were called to the Walgreens on Jonesboro Road. That's 4617 Jonesboro Road. He'd been previously trespassed from that location. And it was reported that he'd returned. The officers tried to make contact with him and he walked away and was not very cooperative, although they did not charge him with anything related to that. If you give me 1 second. We're not asking for any additional or change in that bond order, Your Honor. We're just requesting that there be a social worker visit, that he be ordered to stay away from that location and have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. He was told on February the 4th of 2025, so within just a few days. He'd
Mr.
been
Dodd?
just recently criminally trespassed and keeps.
Your Honor, Mr. Hughes has been in custody since February the 5th, Judge, where he sat in East Point before he was transported to Fulton County last couple of days. By the time SAP comes around, that's another 2 weeks, Judge. He's 32 years of age. He reports to me that he worked at Walmart in Douglasville. He also refs some games. I did not get an indication as far as any type of social worker needed. He reports that he does have a residence in Union City, is where he resides, Judge. I would just ask the court consider a signature bond through the jail where they stay away from that location.
I can't send him through the jail, I don't believe, Mr. Haddad, because he has a previous criminal trespass.
That's right.
It'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Stay away from the Walgreens on Jonesboro Road. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
So this is weird. I just pulled this PSA they got. So he got 4 open trespasses on probation for trespass out of Cobb. This is per judge.
Okay. Does he have anything open, Mr. Howard, out of
This
state
PSA
court?
say he has 4 open trespasses.
Any from Fulton State?
All right, hold on. Hold on. Let me see something. Nah, let me pull this GCIC. Hold on. They threw it in here. All right, February 6th was Union City. July 2024 was City of South Fulton. March 2024 was Union City. That's the Cobb conviction. Yeah, they do look like bindovers. So he didn't necessarily come to us. Last time he was with us was in 2022.
Okay, thank you. So per judge, I'll send him to the pretrial. All right, good luck to you, sir.
Judge, raise that level though. At least level 2 or something.
All right. Level 2.
Joe, can you repeat the bond amount?
It's a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome, Mr. Hughes.
Position 16.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jackson. You have been charged in case 25 CR 000760E with loitering and prowling. Is there a history, Mr. Howard? Oh, it's his first arrest, is my understanding.
No. I don't know why I put that
No?
there. Last I got 1985 attempted theft, and I think he's homeless. But the last arrest I saw was 1985.
Okay. Miss Allen?
Your Honor, this is from yesterday, February the 12th at about 2:30 in the morning. The defendant was found in the parking deck at the MARTA station at 1101 Mount Vernon Highway in Sandy Springs. He was hiding behind a pillar or went and hid when he saw officers. He's got no vehicle there at the location, has no reason to be there at 2 in the morning. And so he was taken into custody for loitering and prowling. I didn't see a record either, Your Honor. We would just ask for $1,000 SOB. It looks like he's okay, that's okay for him. But a requirement that he stay away. We'd also ask for a social worker visit, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
Do you need some assistance with housing, Mr. Haddad?
No, Judge, I talked to him about that. He does have a place to stay. Judge, he's 64 years of age. He was working for a long time, Judge, then he started having seizures, which interfered with his working ability. But he did not report to me any housing issues or any other, drug or alcohol issues, Judge. I would just ask a release through the jail.
All right. It'll be $1,000 signature bond through the jail. I'm gonna have to stay away from that Mount Vernon Highway address, Mr. Jackson. Don't go back there. And no drugs, alcohol, weapons while you're out on bond. Okay? Good luck to you, sir.
Position 17.
Judge, I don't have that. That wasn't on my pull sheet either.
This is also a
Okay.
bind over, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. Jordan, you've been charged in case 25 CR 0007711Y with criminal trespass. Do a history, Miss Allen?
No, Your Honor, not an adult history. This young woman is 17 years old. This is a bind over out of Union City. Police were called on the 7th of February to the Union City Apartments at 6295 Oakley Road. Specifically, the property manager there heard voices from inside Unit 608, a vacant unit. She shouldn't have been in there. When the property manager opened the door, she found the defendant in multiple bags containing her belongings. The defendant then fled on foot, but was located nearby with the help of police at the Texaco. She was detained. They ran her information. She is a runaway and has a current juvenile justice case with, I guess she's got to go see them after this. We would ask, she's already got I believe it's $1,000 bond. We'd ask for that, Your Honor, to stay away from the location at 6295 Oakley Road. Again, that's the Union City Apartments. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and to comply with any defects or Department of Juvenile Justice cases.
Okay. So Skins, is this your case?
Yes, Your Honor. I was actually in the middle of speaking with Miss Jordan when she was called, so I haven't been able to do a full interview with her.
Oh, okay. So we'll need for Mr. Geddes to complete his interview with Miss Jordan. Do we have anybody else we can take, or is this the last?
What about number 25? I'm sorry.
Position 25.
Hold on, Judge.
Your Honor, position number 25 was a reset from yesterday, and I've not been able to speak to her. I don't know if she's still at medical. I think it was a medical reset.
It's still gonna be a medical reset. She detoxing right now.
Okay, so we'll reset it for
Okay.
tomorrow.
214. Okay, so if we can have Mr. Geddes continue his interview with Miss Jordan. Is anybody else there in the courtroom?
No, that's it.
Okay, so let's just I'll place you into a breakout room, Mr. Geddes, if you don't mind.
I'll try to be brief, Your Honor.
Okay, you're fine. Take as long as you need. So can we place courtroom 2 and Mr. Geddes into a breakout room, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. We'll be in recess until they return. Okay, you ready to proceed, Mr.
Yes.
Geddes? Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Your Honor, it sounds like she does have a hold pending in another jurisdiction. So even if she were released here, she would obviously have to go and address that. So I would ask that the court consider a signature bond in this case. She did describe to me that it sounds like she has had a very complicated and difficult home and housing situation. Um, I think I'm going to ask that a social worker come and speak with her if she does spend any kind of significant time here at the Fulton County Jail. But beyond that, as I said, I know there is that outstanding hold, and I think a UJR would be appropriate just to make sure she doesn't spend any longer than necessary here as opposed to dealing with the other matter.
Where is the hold?
I didn't catch the details of where that hold is being.
Okay.
I apologize.
And she's 17. Is she working with defects with juvenile justice? Is there a placement for her?
I believe the issue is that she fled from that placement, Your Honor.
Okay.
I'll pull up the documents and see if I can tell where the hold is from.
So
the conditions that she described from some of those placement facilities were fairly gruesome, Your Honor.
okay. Well, I'm just reticent to just release a 14-year-old, I mean a 17-year-old without some type of guidance for her.
So the booking documents out of Jonesboro and Union City, Bryan County Department of Juvenile Justice. Once Union City charge is done, she needs to be transported and then to handle that. I see an order for the apprehension of her. I can forward it to you. It's in the booking documents from the Department of Juvenile Justice, issued July of 2024, whereabouts unknown. And this was based on a police report out of DeKalb County. So we would not be objecting to an SOB to her hold, Your Honor. She is 17. She's going to age out of the system pretty soon, but she's got a caseworker and an active situation that she's got to deal with. I think, most 17-year-olds would say that they don't like a residential facility. But that's not the standard. So we would request a release to the hold, but some requirements here. If you'd like me to forward these documents, I will.
Okay. I will release her to the hold. So it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the Oakley Road address. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. And she is to follow any defects or juvenile justice recommendations. All right. Good luck to you, Miss Jordan. Okay, I believe that completes the 2 o'clock calendar. Miss Bridgewater.
Okay. Once again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is February the 27th. Position number 1 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through the jail. Position 2 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 3 is going to the SAP calendar with a $1,000 good bond. Position 4 is reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 5 is reset further notice with a total $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 6 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 7, reset further notice with a $4,000 SOB through pretrial. 8 is going to the SAP calendar with a $1,000 good bond. 9 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $2,500 good bond. 10, reset further notice with a $10,000 SOB through pretrial. 11 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial per judge.
What's the level and contact for that one?
The level is level 1 and no further contact with Jesse Brownhill.
Thank you.
Okay. 12 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $2,000 good bond. 13 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through the jail. 14. Did we do 14?
I got 2,000 good.
Okay, let me just go back to that. 2,000 good, and that's 1,000 on each one.
I'm assuming.
It is.
Okay.
Okay, go back to that one. Okay, 15 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. 16 is reset further notice with a $1,000 SOB through the jail. 17 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through the jail, and she's to be released to another agency. 18 is reset further notice with a $1,000 SOB through pretrial. 19 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $6,000 split bond. 20 reset further notice with a total $1,200 SOB through pretrial. 21 is reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 22 reset further notice with a total $4,000 SOB through pretrial. 23 is going to the SAP calendar with a $500 good bond. 24 reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial. And position 25 is being reset till tomorrow. Are there any questions, comments, or otherwise?
The add-on, did we get that? Did you say the add-on calendar, Miss Bridgewater?
Oh, I did not. Let me find that. Hold on, I got it. Y'all hit me up big time today. Hold on. I want to say he was position number 18 too.
Yes.
Okay, if my memory serves me right, it's $1,000 SOB through pretrial level 1.
Yes.
Good. Gotcha.
Okay. Anything further this afternoon? All right, thank you all. We'll see you next time. These calendars seem to be getting bigger and bigger.
Why is that, I wonder?
They don't get along at home.
Oh, I mean, I think the Super Bowl contributed, first of all.
Well, guess what? Valentine's Day is tomorrow, so look out next week.
Especially Monday.
It just blows my mind.
All right, I'll see you all on Monday.
Thank you.
Alright,
Thank you,
bye-bye.
everybody.
Them fellas better get enough gift for everybody in their life. Otherwise, gonna be some trouble.
Chocolate. Bye.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.